Are we still allowed to fix our own cars? Remember in the old days when, say, you broke the headlight on your car and you went to the local dealer and they said, that'll be £500, please. And you thought, well, sod that. So you went to the local scrapyard and you picked one up for 50 quid and you swapped it yourself. Yeah, you can't do that. Not with new cars at least anymore. And if you tried, you'd probably crash your car's electronics and brick the whole thing. Now, not many people know about this. In fact, I didn't know about this, to be honest. But the thing is, we're now living through a quiet digital revolution where the manufacturers are moving from selling you a machine to leasing you a software-locked appliance experience thing. So this is called parts pairing or component protection. And it is the reason that simple DIY weekend repair is fast becoming a thing of the past, and why your local independent mechanic is also slowly being pushed to the wall. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on this so-called digital jail that is currently sitting in your dashboard. Yeah, let's get into all of that right after this.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
So what is actually going on? Well, think of it as a digital handshake. So in the old days, a headlight was just the bulb and the reflector, right? Today, it's a little bit more complex. It's a network computer. When you install the new part, the car central gateway sends a signal to that part and says, hey, what's your VIN? And if the VIN inside that part doesn't match the VIN of the car effectively puts that part into a coma and could well shut itself down in the process too. Volkswagen, the Volkswagen Group I should say, has been leading the way in this. With Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini and Volkswagen, they have pioneered a system where parts are specifically authorized for a vehicle. But this isn't just a VAG Group phenomenon. It's a global industry shift. Stellantis, which covers brands like Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge and Alfa Romeo, has aggressively implemented secure gateways that block your diagnostic tools unless you pay for authorized digital tokens. BMW and Mercedes have moved towards higher level encryption for their control modules, making it increasingly difficult to swap components like infotainment units or steering hardware without specialized server-side unlocking. Then there's General Motors, the parent company for Chevrolet, Cadillac, GMC and Buick, where it's still available, I think in China. That has arguably built the most rigid digital environment of them all. Their global B architecture functions as a closed loop. They don't just lock parts, they actively reject any component that doesn't match the original factory as-built configuration that is stored on their servers. Even Tesla has built a complete siloed ecosystem where vehicle software often rejects any part that is not serialized or authorized through their proprietary cloud. Make no mistake, as the industry pivots to software-defined vehicles, even legacy giants and emerging manufacturers are adopting these security gateways and VIN-locked architectures, all under the guise of cybersecurity and security, anti-theft, etc., but with the undeniable result of locking independent repair and home mechanics out of the car alike. So what's the manufacturer's defense? Well, security. They claim that this stops the theft of high-value parts from the car. And to be honest, it kind of does, because you can't use them anywhere else, right? And you remember seeing a couple of years ago pictures of, Porsche Macans with their fronts horribly ripped open like can cutters have been across them so the headlights could be taken out. Well, nobody really wants to see that. The trouble is, while that's a good thing, this also creates a massive monopoly. When your part is locked, you can't just swap it. You have to connect the car to the manufacturer's central server, often through proprietary diagnostic tools, to marry the new part to your car. And guess who controls the server? The dealer. Is this safety? Or is this the car maker making sure you have no choice but to come back to them, pay not £500 anymore, forget about that old price, but probably several £1,000s to get a new headlight fitted? And of course, we're not just talking headlights. I'm just using that as an obvious example, but as already mentioned, there are other parts as well. Let's talk about the cost. It's not just the price of the part anymore. It's the digital tax around it, right? Because you're paying for the dealer's time, so you're paying labor costs, the server access, proprietary software. For an independent shop, also this is an existential threat. They can't access their server, so they can't fix your car. It's that simple.
Check out Brown Car Guy's latest novel, Silent Ruin. Action, adventure, spies, betrayal, romance, plus of course cool cars and car chases, it's got the lot. And don't forget how to be an automotive content creator, the ULEZ files and quantum races. All Brown Car Guys books are available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited.
But here's the kind of irony behind all of this, because the harder the manufacturers lock these systems tight, the more they kind of incentivize a grey market of hackers. And there is in fact a growing sophisticated scene of coders and reverse engineers. These aren't your typical script kiddies. These are people running bench coding rigs, using programmers to clone the data from your original broken part and inject it into the new one, or rather they've found one at the scrapyard. They're effectively tricking the car into thinking that the old part never left. But this is a high stakes and constant cat and mouse game, because every time a manufacturer releases a software update or an over-the-air fix, it's often designed to patch those loopholes. So it's a perpetual war between the people who built the car and the people who want to keep it on the road at an economical and viable cost. And of course, it goes without saying that if you do something like that, you're probably going to be risking your warranty coverage as well. The question isn't just how we hack around this, it's why should we have to? Now, right now, the EU is moving on this. Their right to repair directive is forcing the issue, demanding the manufacturers make their diagnostic data and parts access available to independent mechanics and even owners in some cases. But the UK and US are still navigating this complex web of cybersecurity versus consumer choice. So as usual, we're still behind. The reality, we are kind of reaching a tipping point. If we don't demand the right to repair the things that we buy, we're essentially just renting our own property. And as these cars age, the ones that are software locked are going to be the ones that end up in the crusher, not because they're broken or they can't be used, but because they're unrepairable, because they're too expensive. They'll be sent to the scrapper too early. I mean, what a waste of resources when, we're supposed to be being more careful about our carbon footprints. Surely this doesn't make any sense at all for the environment either, right? To me, this is not only a disaster for the crucial aftermarket and service and repair industry, and also an ecological mess, but it kills the long-term viability of new cars, further taking us down that sort of route of the disposable society. We just use stuff and throw it away rather than fix and reuse. And surely this is not the direction that we should be going in, particularly when it comes to cars, because they are more complex, more component reliant than ever before. Modern cars, for example, use up to 3,000 computer chips. That's just for a start. In a typical modern vehicle, you're looking at dozens of electronic modules. But the real danger zone, the ones that are systematically VIN paired or protected, that could account for anywhere between 10 to 30% of your car's control units. These aren't just random sensors, we're talking about digital sentinels that define your vehicle's identity. And if you try to swap one of these from a salvage yard, the car system will instantly detect the mismatch, triggering a service warning, or worse, it will simply refuse to function at all. We're talking about the gateway, your car's digital firewall. We're talking about the infotainment system, the instrument cluster, which are the most common targets for theft, the engine and the transmission computers, which are now hard linked to your immobilizer, and even some of your ADAS, driver assist systems and safety controllers. So cutting off any of these could just shut the whole car down, make it redundant and useless. And yes, we're talking radar sensors, steering modules, airbag units. They're all being locked to the chassis VIN to ensure that they're calibrated only to your specific car. In the old days, you were fixing a machine. Today, you're trying to outsmart a network that is fundamentally designed to reject anything that didn't come from the factory floor originally. Now, I want to know what you think. Is this the cost of progress? Is this the price that we have to pay for technology in our dashboards, or stopping thieves from ripping out our headlights and what have you? Or is this just the manufacturers trying to monopolize everything and make the ownership experience prohibitively expensive, and fundamentally so that we have to throw away the car and then buy a new one in a couple of years' time, which can't be good for the environment, surely. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll look forward to reading them and catch you all in the next video.
If you found this video useful or entertaining, support the Brown Car Guy channel at these links, hit like, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribing. Want your brand in front of genuine car enthusiasts and a loyal motoring audience? Brown Car Guy reaches over 40,000 YouTube subscribers and hundreds of thousands of passionate viewers with credible motoring news, views, and reviews. From supercars to classics, industry insight to amazing motoring stories, this is trusted automotive content with real engagement. So, want your logo here? Sponsor the channel today.